Look out! Here come former SportsCenter anchor Bob Stevens, esteemed basketball coach Rich Basirico, and Hall of Fame sports writer Curry Kirkpatrick. And someone's going under the bus.
Under the bus, right off the bat, goes the esteemed coach, Rich Basirico, who just gets back from Italy and then bails on us again to go to California.
Again.
Yeah, I mean, he could be doing this at a decent hour, cocktail hour in California, but no.
And he doesn't disturb Rich when he's on vacation. He's in the zone.
And wouldn't this not be the perfect week to have him on? I mean, we've got the Giants coach fired. We got a Knicks team that's actually won 6 in a row. We got some great college hoops to talk about that I'm sure Curry will expand upon in a little bit. I want to begin though, and I will just join the chorus of people who are remembering the great Lenny Wilkens, the coach who was, when I was a kid, was my player idol because I grew up in the Northwest and, he was the Seattle Supersonics, was Lenny. And I was a left-handed shooting point guard. And so obviously Lenny was a big deal. Yeah, because I was a very bad left-handed shooting point guard, but got to know him a bit, got to be around him when he coached the Cleveland Cavaliers, who tried to catch Michael Jordan every year. And, Lenny would confound us by refusing to double team Jordan back when you legally couldn't, but there were ways, certainly in the NBA. You supposedly had to play man-to-man, but
I couldn't play.
Lenny did, and Jordan, of course, torched the Cavs year after year after year. But the story I want to tell of Lenny's that everyone respected him. I don't think anybody, I've not seen anybody have anything bad to say about Lenny Wilkens. He could be certainly a role model for any of us, even growing up, even in adulthood and beyond. The Cavaliers had a practice facility next to the arena that they played in Richfield and Ohio, and the Cavs would practice up there, and the reporters and writers and whatever would all come out. And so 11:30 noon, practice is over, you do your interviews, you catch up, before the next game. And then most of us ink-stained wretches would stay and play hoops. We'd play in the practice gym for an hour or so before we had to get serious about going back to work. One day, Lenny came up. He always did practice in sweats and whatever. And Lenny came up and played with us, and we just played half court. He didn't move. His pedometer would have probably had 30 steps in it in an hour. He just sat out and dished. And if you got the ball from Lenny, you wanted to make the basket so that he got the assist, because he was the all-time assist leader. And he never made a bad pass, obviously gave you a chance. And it was just so cool. This is the guy that I grew up idolizing as a kid, and now I get to play ball with him.
Yeah,
Wow. Well, Bob, I think I go even further back with Lenny, because I remember when I was in probably grade school watching him play at Providence College. And in those days, the Providence team wore shirts with sleeves for their uniform. Their uniforms were basically T-shirts with sleeves. Yeah. And I remember Lenny Wilkens playing in, sleeves. And then when I got to know him a little bit, when I first at Sports Illustrated, when I started on the NBA beat, he was a coach by then. So I missed his whole NBA playing career, but he was a coach, and he was so nice to me. I mean, he was so nice. Everybody has the stories about what a great guy he was, but what a career this guy had. I mean, he's the only guy he was named to the 75th anniversary team as a player and then as a coach.
Right. Well, he's in the Hall of Fame.
On the Hall of Fame
categories.
Yeah.
2 times. Yeah. It's just, I remember standing next to him. He was listed as 6'1". And I remember standing next to him. He wasn't even 5'10" because he was barely taller than me. And for him to have such a career in those days with some big guys all around him, amazing.
You can look this up. In the early 70s, when the Lakers were, a huge deal, and there were some obviously terrific players. Lenny was the MVP of the All-Star game. Back when the All-Star game kind of meant something. There was one year that Lenny came off the bench, scored 20, 22 or probably something like that, had 6 or 8 assists, in the half that he played, and was the MVP of the All-Star game. I thought that's pretty cool for a team that could barely make the playoffs. He got in and was that good. And as you said, member of the 50th All-Star team, member of the 75th All-Star team, in the Hall of Fame as a player, coach, and as the assistant coach of the Dream Team.
Well, and so little. I mean, he wasn't just little; he was so skinny. He looked so fragile. It's amazing what a career he had as a player.
Yeah. Again, he was the assist leader when he retired, since broken by Stockton and Jason Kidd, and I'm sure and a number of others. But he was good, and again, an even better person than his record would indicate. Nobody, any of the things I've seen about his passing at the age of 88, has said anything at all negative about Lenny. He did fortunately live long enough. He finished his life in Seattle, where he became so famous, and they had just unveiled a statue to Lenny, and they don't have the Sonics yet. They'll get an NBA team. They're next, I'm sure, in line to get an NBA team. And
they need the Sonics back. I love the Sonics.
That'll be good. That'll be fun. Good stuff. The other passing this past week, Paul Tagliabue, the commissioner of the NFL. My recollections with Tagliabue was when I was in Cleveland, and the Browns were leaving, and Tagliabue was the commissioner. Needless to say, I think we called him Tagliabue because he let it happen. But then he also understood what pro football meant to Cleveland, and he was pretty supportive of all of what the Cleveland people did to try to save the Browns, and then try to get the expansion team. And he was around for all of that. And again, a pretty good guy, as I understand it, and the little bit I had to do with him. He's pretty solid character.
Well, all the tributes to him spoke of players and coaches that had known him well, and executives spoke of what a great guy he was. Another guy that I don't think he had many enemies. He had to do a bunch of stuff as commissioner that were not popular, but Troy Aikman the other night on Monday Night Football told a great story about him. Everybody was telling about how great a guy Tagliabue was, and a friendly player and players commissioner. And Aikman said one year Aikman left the All-Star game, left the Pro Bowl at halftime, and he got a call after the game from his agent, Lee Steinberg, who said that Tagliabue wanted to see Aikman in his office in New York, and he had to come to New York and sit with him. And Aikman said, no, I'll just pay the fine. I don't want to go all the way to New York to get chewed out. I just tell me what the fine is, and I'll just pay it. And Steinberg said, no. Tagliabue says he wants to talk to you about being a ambassador, a goodwill ambassador for the league. And Aikman said, oh boy, well, I'll do it. I'll go there. And, he flew into New York. And he said he had a 2-hour conversation with Tagliabue, and never once did the goodwill ambassador come up in the conversation. So Aikman said, yeah, he was a pretty tough guy, actually.
That's good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, bait and switch.
Jarrett, I should introduce Justin Jarrett to those of you who have not been a part of it. Justin is usually our producer. We are being produced by Worldwide West Kerr tonight. Justin is sitting in for the missing coach.
I didn't have a lot to add about Lenny Wilkens. I mean, I loved him as a coach, but I didn't.
You were young and grew up in
much
Kansas.
of him as you two. But Tagliabue was the commissioner of my youth. You know, I mean, that was the guy. It's been cool to listen to some of the tributes and hear some of the highlights. As you said, he let the team walk out of Cleveland, but he brought one back. He also kept the team in New Orleans right after Katrina, put his foot down and said, no, we're not going to do that. The thing that stood out to me that people have talked about is just how he was much unlike today's commissioners. He played it pretty down the middle. I mean, he really had a closer relationship with Gene Upshaw, who was the head of the Players Association at the time. And they did it the old school way, you know. I mean, they really did negotiate and meet in the middle, and we didn't have stoppages and
no stoppage,
no labor strife, you know. Yep. So I think that today's commissioners could learn from that. You know, I mean, today's are staunchly. I know they're employed by the owners and everything, but the owners need to respect that the health of their leagues depends on the health of their labor agreement with the players. And I think that's something that Tagliabue, having been an attorney and been involved in that, really understood better than most. And I think he was a really steady leader for that reason. So props to him. And let's throw all the future commissioners under the bus, right? Everyone's sense.
Who do we throw under the bus with the New York Football Giants for the firing of Brian Daboll? Did he bring that on himself, or is this the
Too
Giants
late.
wandering around trying to?
Should have been done at the end of last season, shouldn't it?
If they were going to, but
I mean,
I
it's
think the
weird
Giants were trying to do the right thing and give him a shot with the new quarterback and all that, and nobody supported him more than. The Jackson Dart more than
he was the guy. He was apparently the guy that wanted Dart. Everybody else didn't want him, and Daboll had the last word on that. I've got to throw about the game last week. I got to throw myself under the bus for my because last week I made a big deal about Hu Chang Mu, the kicker, getting cut from Atlanta after the first week when he missed a kick to tie the game with Tampa Bay. And we were talking about him being out of the league, and I thought, somebody should get a league. Well, little did I know he was with the Giants. He signed with the Giants, and he kicked a 19-yarder to put the team ahead of the Bears last week with 10 minutes left. Of course, by that time, Dart had been concussed and had gone to the blue tent like he does every game apparently. And Russell Wilson had come in and was awful. And the Bears gave the game basically to the Giants gave the game to the actually the kicker's name is Young Ho Koo. So I got that. I've called him Ho Chi Minh on several occasions as well. But it was the Giants, the fourth game they'd lost, being ahead by double digits. And it cost Daboll his job. People in New York are asking, why is the general manager still got his job? The guy named Joe Shane that came in with Daboll and is responsible for the whole rest of this clown show that the Giants have become.
Well, did you see who they're starting at quarterback this week?
Yeah.
Jameis Winston.
Jameis.
Good luck to the new guy.
Which means Russell Wilson is now third string, right? Or maybe I don't know what that means.
He's toast. He's been.
They're still paying him, but the other big firing besides Brian Daboll with the Giants, of course, was Nico Harrison, fired by the Dallas Mavericks as the general manager. He, of course, is the guy who traded Luka Doncic last spring and has still not heard the end of that. And even though he was able to draft Cooper Flagg because they went in a tank and they got Cooper, they're not very good, and they might not be very good for a while. So,
what he's heard is fire Nico chants in the last few games. Unbelievable. I mean, so loud. The whole stadium is chanting fire Nico as if it used to be nobody knew the GM's name.
No,
of course, this guy made a name for himself by trading Luka. Probably the worst trade in history. But he's of course Kyrie Irving got hurt. Harrison probably should have been fired last year after he made the trade. That's what everybody, the whole fan base wanted him out then. So you talk about a guy that's been running on fumes, and now, Street Clothes Davis doesn't even get on the floor. And that's not, you can't really blame it on Nico, but Street Clothes is over 30 years old, I think. And he's never been.
This is not new. Yeah.
He's never been healthy. He's never been healthy. And so you really do got to hang that trade on him.
Barkley, part of the rationale for trading Luka was they didn't think he was in good enough shape, and they traded him for a guy who's never on the court.
Well, and I think the fact that Luka's averaging 40 every night now, and Harrison has to watch that.
I want to get in that kind of shape. Can you get me in that?
Right.
Kind of shape.
So they're worried about his physical condition and his commitment to his health.
Charles Barkley went off tonight on the fact that Nico's his friend, and he doesn't want he thinks the ownership should take responsibility for the Nico trade, and of course the owners had to sign off on it. But the whole plan was Nico's, and Charles was saying it's really sad that my friend is going to be known for trading Luka Doncic. That's what he's going to be known for the rest of his life. And he did. He was bemoaning that fact, and Ernie Johnson said, "Sorry, Charles, that's what he's going to be known for." So
look around and find out, right?
Yeah.
Actions have consequences. Sorry, Nico. But Charles, I mean, come on, Charles. You're pretending you're cosplaying a journalist. Don't bring friendship.
Yeah, well, he's not. Yeah. And unavailability is the unavailability is Street Clothes, middle name. So they draft Flag. The Duke kid Flag was supposed to save them, and he's okay. He's averaging 15, but he's not the savior that people thought. I don't think.
That's because he went to Duke. Come on, Curry, admit
it. Well, he's had games where he scored 2 points. Come on.
We're going to talk college basketball and all of the great freshmen that play at Carolina and everywhere else in the country in a little bit. We need to take a break. We're 17 minutes in, and it's time to talk about the great folks at Hudson's on the Docks. Hudson'sOnTheDocks.com is the place to go. Fabulous restaurant on Hilton Head Island. It is fall. It is the time to come and
oysters, fresh oysters.
Dine and enjoy the low country of South Carolina. Hudson's on the Docks sponsoring us. We're going to throw a whole bunch of folks under the bus. We've got more NFL talk and college football talk straight ahead. Stay with us. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick, Justin Jarrett sitting in for the coach, Rich Basirico. The NFL continues to be the not for long league. It's kind of how long can you be any good? We're starting to separate the cream from the milk, wheat from the chaff. I don't know, whatever analogy you want to use. There's some pretty good teams out there. And I think a couple of teams that aren't yet considered really, really good that are going to be there. I watch out for those Baltimore Ravens. They're starting to put it together. They had that horrible start, tough schedule, and now they're starting to play well. Even though they're only 4-5, they'll probably win their division and get into the playoffs.
Very winnable.
Once you get in, anything can happen.
Well, as a Buffalo guy, I'm throwing my Bills directly under the bus for last week. I mean, disgusting, revolting, inexcusable, outrageous, use any terrible adjective. The Bills, they come off a week before beating the Chiefs, and they go into Miami and just don't even show up. I mean, you can praise the Dolphins for, their coach is probably on the way out, and they can praise the Dolphins all you want, but the Bills just didn't show up in that game. And I just don't understand this. It looked like to me this might have been their year, but they're a game and a half. They're not even going to beat New England out for the number one slot in the division now. And I don't know, can they get? They got Tampa Bay coming up. Is it possible Bills can miss the playoffs? I don't know. I mean, the way they just were awful.
Yeah, they would have to tank pretty bad to miss the playoffs. But
I'm
definitely concerned about them. Like, they have not been consistent, and I always wonder every year. I wonder if they just don't like their coach. Like,
well, that's
I don't think they like their coach, and I think that's part of it.
Well, I don't know whose fault this is. Is it the coach, Sean McDermott? Is a game like that his fault? Is it the offensive coordinator? Is it, Josh doesn't lead the way he should? A game like that, I mean, that's just inexcusable. It's to me.
For a team that looked like, the Dolphins looked like they were walking dead.
Yeah.
And
that's why it's a 17-game season, because every team's going to lay at least one egg.
Yeah.
And maybe two, and I'm sure that's how they're thinking about it. Okay, that was our egg, but you certainly don't want to be doing that a month from now when it gets really serious. Hey, how
about one more thing about that game? How about the Dolphins coach, wacko Mike McDaniel? Mike McDaniel, did you see what he did after the game? He deliberately drove by there's a bar in Fort Lauderdale called the Elbow Room. It's a big Bills hangout. And he drove by the bar, I guess, just to rub it in. And there's video of him and all this rumors about, was he there? Was he not there? So then the press asked him about it on Monday. And of course, wacko Mike said that, he didn't know about it. He said, he lived in the area. But he said, AI is real, guys. AI is real. I don't know whether to hate this guy or love this guy. He's so funny.
I happen to love him because his childhood best friend, Dan Soder, is one of my favorite stand-up comedians, and fiance to Katie Nolan, the great sports reporter, whose podcast I love. So I'm a Soder fan. Soder and McDaniel are best friends from childhood, so I root for McDaniel. But I do think everything he does is tongue in cheek. Like, it's all, he's in on the bit. Everything's a bit.
Yeah, I know.
Who in the NFC North is really good? Are the Lions really good? Are the Bears really good? Are the Packers really good? Are the Vikings maybe the best of the bunch and that just have lost too many?
No, the Vikings are the worst of the bunch. Detroit's really good.
The Bears and the Lions are both pretty good. I think the Lions are really good, and I think the Bears are bordering on really good. I think they get better every week. Ben Johnson is the real deal, and I think they've got something there.
Speaking of the Lions, this gets me back to another under the bus character on Sunday. His name is Donald Trump. Amid reports that he wants the Commanders, is that what their name is? The Commanders to name the new stadium after him. He shows up at the Lions Commanders game in the second quarter, and the boos, outnumber the cheers by a lot. And then at halftime,
a bunch of them were telling him he was number one, though.
At halftime, he gives the oath of enlistment to a bunch of people on the field who are enlistees to the military branches. But you couldn't even hear him because there's so many cat calls. Yeah. I mean, whose idea was this?
Clearly.
These poor people should have had nothing but cheers in their big moment, and all they're hearing is these boos and cat calls. It was reported that he was the first president to attend a regular season NFL game in 47 years. Yeah. Wow. I was stunned to hear that.
He jumped on the broadcast, didn't he?
Yeah.
He what? Yeah. He came in on that. Yeah. Another terrible decision.
At which point he tried to describe how the Dodgers won the World Series by talking about their arms, and he said it's sports, and in particular baseball, and in particular pitching.
You know, all of this is interesting, the history of all of this, because, you know, Trump would love to have been, and maybe he would be president had he been an NFL owner.
Well,
Now,
he tried to be. Remember, he tried to.
tried
Yeah.
to buy
Well,
the
he
Bills.
started a
He
whole
tried to
league
buy
to rival them to try to bribe his way in.
That's right. And before that, he owned that team in that other league. Remember?
The USFL.
Yeah, the USFL.
Didn't he sign Doug
Herschel Walker.
Rudy or sign Herschel Walker? And
Yeah, both of them.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he started the USFL as a ploy to be an end around to get an NFL team. That was the whole purpose.
You know, I wonder where he spent the $3 that they eventually won, because the USFL ended up winning the case, but gave them $1, but they tripled it because for the NFL for you know, being a monopoly, they tripled the damages, and so Trump had a piece of the $3. I wonder what he did with that. I don't know.
Speaking of over the hills, did anybody watch Aaron Rodgers the other night?
Oh.
I mean, you know, he looked all of 61, not 41, and he was trying a couple of times. The defenders are coming at him, and he's doing pirouettes to not get hit. I mean, his whole thing is not get hit. Right. On these games, and it's
liable to break a hip. And
you know, he looks like a little girl twirling around, trying not to. And his teammates are seeing this. I don't know what they think of this, but you know, he looked really washed the other night. To me, it might be over.
Mike Tomlin just having to bite his tongue and just
you
know, okay, I got to do this. But
how about the safety early in the game? The safety. Oh my God! I mean, trying to get away. You know, it's kind of looking sad for Aaron. I don't know.
It kind of looks like the Running Man.
Hey, let's transfer from pro football to the colleges. Some great games coming up this week. The very few changes in the rankings. Did either one of you see the end of the Indiana Penn State game?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw the whole game. It was a great game. Yeah.
Incredible game. I really thought A&M would jump Indiana this week.
But I tell you what, you gotta hats off to Indiana. I mean, they got their own 20 with under 2 minutes and no timeouts, and they did not seem to be bothered by even getting their quarterback sacked on the first play. They seemed like there was no problem. They were going to somehow get it done, and that catch in the end zone that finished it off was just absolutely outrageous. It was
he's big time. That might have been his Heisman moment, that whole fourth quarter drive. I mean,
Mendoza,
Mendoza's ahead in the Heisman race now because of that.
And
could you imagine an Indiana Hoosier winning the Heisman Trophy? We are really in the upside down.
You know, they had a great running back like a decade ago.
They had Antoine Randall L, didn't they?
Well, yeah, I think.
So he was the receiver.
They had a really good running back that got drafted in the first round and was decent for a while. Anthony Thompson, maybe, that was really, really good, but they were really, really bad. So you don't win the Heisman if the team is really, really bad, unless you're Paul Hornung. So they
well, you're bringing them up from the past now, Justin. I'm sorry, I got to bring up this one, but I got it under the bus, and that is the Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, throw them under.
You know, I think that's my home state school. I grew up in St. Louis. If we hadn't moved, I probably would have gone to Missouri, the great journalism school that they have. But I'm so tired of them teasing and looking almost good, and you know, I know they had a close loss to Alabama and Vandy, but they were pummeled last week.
Yeah, to be fair, you had a freshman quarterback making
but he's a 5-star. He was a 5-star.
It was a big deal to keep him home.
Matt Zollers, he just got drowned, and I mean, he made Drinkwitz is really a popular guy. He's a good-looking guy. I think I like what he's done there. He's probably going to be one of the coaches that moves, I would think, after the season. But he said, he came out. He said that's the toughest locker room I've ever been in, and he said we We all believed we were going to win. We played like we were going to win. What is he talking about? They were down 3 touchdowns most of the game, and the quarterback was 3 for 11 in the first half, 31 yards. I mean, I know they're playing Zollers is freshman is his name.
Right.
They're playing with third stringer, but I think there's a reality check for Missouri.
Yeah.
No, I think so too. And I think we were kind of waiting for it to come as fans. Like we were kind of, there was some smoke and mirrors there. But I think more than anything, I came away really impressed with A&M. They are.
Oh, I am too. I think they might be the best team. I think they might be the best team.
Yeah, I think that was a tough spot for the kid to make his first start. Their pass rush was relentless. I mean, they dominated up front, and so I thought they would jump in the end of this week. Really, I thought they had shown enough. But if they get through that SEC schedule undefeated, then they're legitimate.
Well, yeah,
but I think they might be the most talented team of the bunch.
They're going to have to beat Texas in the end. Texas this week gets to play at Georgia. Is this where our boy Manning stands up and says, okay, it's my turn, or does Texas lose and fall out of the top 15 or so?
Well, the committee or whoever that chooses the how many teams are going to be in this playoff. The Big Ten wants the automatic bids because they want 4 automatic bids and the SEC doesn't want automatic bids because, of course, they think they can get more than 4. Right. I mean, they want
all 12.
They want all 12. Well, they've got Georgia, Alabama, A&M, and Mississippi are probably going to qualify. But you're right, Bob. Texas goes to Georgia this week. Oklahoma goes to Alabama. If Texas and Oklahoma both win, I mean, the SEC probably has 6 candidates that are legit. I don't think either of them are going to win on their road games, but it could happen.
It would be very interesting stuff. Miami is not currently the top ACC team. They are ranked 15th. South Florida is the top group of 5 team. So they're likely to be in and watch out because 11 and 12 probably go out to let those teams in. Some team from the ACC and some team from the group of 5. It'll be interesting to see how that all finishes up. Let's take another quick break, and then we will come back and we will talk about college basketball and some weirdness in baseball this week. My Guardians are involved in that too. We'll be back and talk about that and throw some people, including some Guardians, under the bus. Welcome back to Under the Bus. Bob Stevens along with Curry Kirkpatrick and Justin Jarrett sitting in for the coach, Rich Basirico, who's out in California and can't be bothered, frankly. He's just he's got better things to do, I guess. Hey, college basketball. What a year for freshmen, Curry. There are a bunch of them all around the country.
They've already exploded so early in the first week here. Yeah. My boy Carolina, Caleb Wilson, had a great game against Kansas. Tar Heels beat Kansas at home, and they lost their leader for about a month now. This kid named Trimble. So we may be in trouble playing some good teams, but they've got the kid DeBantes at Brigham Young. Right. Brigham Young's going to play Connecticut, I think it is, this weekend. Uh-huh. So we'll see him. That game is in Boston. The Boozer brothers at Duke are both really good. Koa Pete, we talked about him last week. A kid at Arizona had 30 against Florida. Arizona upset Florida, and there's a bunch of I don't know if you guys saw the Kentucky Louisville game last night. Yeah. But Louisville has a great freshman guard named Brown, and he dominated the game. And of course, they say this is the best freshman class in a decade. People are saying so.
How many of them? Do any of them stay, or are all of them one and done?
I don't know. I think I would
Depends on
think
what
all.
happens with NIL in the next year, right?
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
they can all stay and get that money.
To keep these guys in college.
You make almost as much money in college now,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah, yeah.
A little less pressure.
Except if
Same.
you stay a second year in college, do you actually have to go to class?
Well, I mean, you would have to at least have made progress toward a degree in your first
stay
year, right? So
eligible?
that does probably take some of them out of consideration for coming back for a second year.
Houston is number one in the country. They go to Auburn this week with Stephen Pearl coaching at Auburn. Curry, obviously we know his lineage. Can this kid coach?
Yeah, with his dad. Well, we'll know, I guess, after. I think Houston will beat Auburn. Houston is so good defensively; it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
The defense wins on the road. I don't think Auburn is up to what they've been the last few years. But Alabama surely is. Alabama beat St. John's in the Garden this week, and they have a couple great freshmen as well. So. To switch sports for a minute, can I do that? Because I don't think we should. I don't think it's under the bus should go unaddressed. In hockey, the other night, when Ovechkin made his 900th goal, the St. Louis goalie Jordan Bennington went into infamy by taking the puck and putting it down his pants to hide the puck from Ovechkin and the refs. What is he thinking? I mean, it's unbelievable. It was so funny, and yet it was, I don't know, was he trying to make a trick? He said afterward, Bennington, the goalie, said afterward, he thought he deserved an assist on the goal because he let the goal in. So, he tongue in cheek, he said, I think I deserve half of this goal. So he didn't think Ovi would mind him taking it. Well,
on his deathbed, he'll confess that he had another puck in his pants and
That's right.
come out.
The video shows the ref going over to him, talking to him, and looking down his pants. So he gives it to him sheepishly. He hands over the puck. I mean, if that isn't an under the bus,
that's a primary under the bus
yeah,
moment.
He stays under all year for that one. All season.
Although to transition to even more under the bus like behavior, my guardians, Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz.
Oh yeah,
and they might be banned forever
for life.
Well, they're facing 65 years in prison, so I don't think it's going to matter.
Well, Clase would be 92 when he got out, and Ortiz would only be 91 if they served their full.
But what are we doing with this sentencing? 65 years.
Yeah, that's how much.
Murderers get out after 30 sometimes. That's insane.
Yeah, but these guys were worse than murderers. I actually want to see Clase investigated for all the home run balls he gave up to the Yankees in last year's playoffs, because he had a near perfect season and then just gets lit up in the playoffs.
There's a lot of people to throw under the bus on this one, though.
Yeah,
obviously Clase and Ortiz, but what about the people who are betting on individual pitches, thousands of dollars? This is insane. And then the MLB response is absurd. They're going to ban bets of more than $200 on individual pitches.
You can only bet $200 on a guy spiking
on individual pitches.
Can they ban this whole deal of betting different things in different games? If you're going to catch, this prop betting. Yeah, isn't that what's going to be?
It's making too many people too much money, buddy. They're stealing everybody's money because.
That's got to be the key. You got to get the prop betting, especially betting unders. I mean, it's so easy to affect an under I'm going to throw a ball, not a strike.
Right.
Notice they never bet on them throwing a strike. But
well, did you see though that one of them? One of the smoking guns they found
one of Ortiz's
he threw a ball, but the guy swung and missed, and then they had a text exchange right after between them, like, "Oh no, lost the bet." Unbelievable. But while we're on the subject of gambling, Curry, I know you love my boy Pablo Torre. and he's been uncovering all kinds of stuff lately. But his latest is an insider trading scandal that involves the beloved Phil Mickelson. Phil Mickelson is part of this group that is trying to take over the pipeline in California that had a spill a few years back, and so they made Exxon shut down the pipeline. And so this external group has come in to try to buy the pipeline and get it pushed through. And Pablo and friends got in on the group chat. And so they got to see all the inner workings of the group chat. And at one point, Phil told everybody that the stock was going to go up because Big Daddy Trump was going to come swing his 14-inch you-know-what in Newsom's face. That's a quote from the group chat. So Lefty's got himself mixed up in some serious business.
Isn't that old news, insider trading with Phil? I mean, several years ago, wasn't he being accused of this? This is another shot. He's taking another shot. Yeah, unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Too bad. Yeah,
speaking of Southern California, can I go back to college football? And I want to hurl under Lincoln Riley, the Southern Cal coach. I mean, what is with this guy? Everything is shortcuts and bend the rules and tricks, and he's playing Northwestern, for God's sakes, in the Coliseum, and he sends out, his big thing was it's in the second quarter, they line up the punt and he sends out his third string quarterback with the same number as the punter. So to fool Northwestern, and Hooard, the quarterback, who's from a long line of quarterback family, throws a first down, and they march down the field and score, and the refs didn't catch it until the next day. Of course, the Big Ten admitted that it was a breach of the rules, and the Northwestern coach, a guy named David Brown, was kind of funny. He said, "I don't think Coach Riley has faked a punt since 2017." he said he admitted he was fooled, and he should have looked at the roster. Apparently, you can have on the roster two guys with the same number, but you can't have them play at the same time or whatever it is.
Yeah, and they're supposed to be offense and defense. Putting a pair number between a punter and a quarterback seems like dirty business.
And how about Riley chortling? How about Lincoln Riley chortling after the game to the media that he said, you guys missed it. You got to pay attention. I've had that on a roster for 3 weeks. I mean, is this guy an a-hole or what? I mean, come on, Lincoln Riley, Southern Cal, Northwestern. You got to use that trick. Come on.
Yeah, he's
unbelievable. Yeah,
he's a used car salesman. He's been a used car salesman from the start.
Southern Cal, for crying out loud, is the school of John Robinson and Student Bonnie Wright and Mike Garrett and
O.J. Simpson.
Well, maybe not that.
Reggie Bush, give him back Heisman. He should get that back by now.
Give him back my trophy. Give me back my trophy.
Maybe this is just a succession of that, from OJ to Reggie Bush.
Well, if you're gonna,
honestly, they haven't been relevant for a while now.
If you're gonna cheat, do it against Notre Dame, for God's sake, right? Not Northwestern.
Although Northwestern's been a tough win to get this year.
Hey, Northwestern and Michigan playing at Wrigley Field this weekend.
Oh, there you go. I'm so excited about that. Come on.
I bet it's going to be cold.
I hope that one doesn't end. Did you see that? I hope that doesn't end like the Western Carolina Mercer game in Cullowhee, North Carolina, Saturday. Mercer's ahead 49-47, and the other team, Western Carolina, marches down the field, and Marcus Trout, the kicker, has a 33-yarder. He kicks the ball to win the game with 3 seconds left. The kick looks good. The PA announcer declares it good. The Western Carolina students cheerleaders team run on the field. A guy raises Trout up.
Oh, no.
As if he's the hero, and only Trout knows, apparently. He notices that his kick drifted wide right, and it missed. And the Mercer fans are all on the field screaming that it was no good, and both fan bases are out there for like a minute, really knowing what happened. how confusing is that? I mean, that's great. And they finally decided the kick was no good, and Western Carolina wins their second straight Southern Conference championship. There were a lot of incredible stats in this game, but the quarterback for the Catamounts, what a great name that is, the Catamounts quarterback, a kid named Dickens, he threw for 551 yards and seven touchdowns and lost.
Holy cow.
As both fan bases are celebrating on the field.
I'm going to say, on that field goal, though, think Scott Norwood had a moment there where he was thinking, gee, if I'd have just jumped up and down and pretended it was good, maybe.
Pretend good. That'd be good.
Any last under the buses?
Well, I've got one on behalf of Rich, preemptive under the bus. He didn't tell me this, but I can read his mind. Paul Skeens is openly flirting with the Yankees on social media, just begging them to trade for him. And one of my buddies who's a lifelong Yankees fan passed this along, so I figure Rich will share the sentiment. If they don't make that trade, my friend Coach Mullis he's cutting ties with the Yankees. He's done with them. If they don't give up anybody short of Judge, everybody else is on the table. Go get Paul Skeens, because it's the only way you beat the Dodgers.
What if Libby Dunn were flirting with the Yankees? Would that be?
Well, we all know that the reason he wants to go to New York is because that's where Libby wants to be, right?
Sure.
Like, I mean,
well, they'll have to give up Judge for Skeens if that's what they wanted.
You know what? If you listen to New York
what do you do?
Radio,
do you give up Judge for Skeens?
Like Rich would.
Pittsburgh doesn't want Judge. They can't afford him.
We'll give away a couple of third basemen, in the minor leagues, and I'm sure they'll trade him. They'll trade Skeens for him. So.
That's the thing, is Pittsburgh doesn't want to take on any salary, so they'll just take all the prospects you got, and if they're not in line to make a lot of money when they mature, then even better. Yeah, so they'll fleece them, I'm sure. And then
Curry, anybody else under the bus? Although you did a good job there with Western Kentucky.
It was Western Carolina. Please come on, North Carolina, in Cullowhee, North Carolina. By the way, yeah, I do have another college football. Montana, in the Big Sky, won their 10th game to stay undefeated, but the guy that's going under. Kid named Jake Skakel, the quarterback for Eastern Washington.
Yeah.
Did you see this? He runs his team down to the 5 with a few seconds left, no timeouts. So he's gonna spike the ball to get one last chance to beat Montana. Spike the ball, and he fumbles the spike. Attempted spike. Fumbles the spike. His own team falls on the ball, but whoops, too late. Time runs out. Skakel said we were 15. He said this is I think it was a redshirt freshman his first game. He said we were 15 feet away. But here's my pet peeve though.
Yes.
The Eastern Washington coach says we're not going to reflect on one play, and a teammate said we're proud of Jake. There's never a game that comes down to one play. Yes, there is. About every game comes down to one play. Come on. Why do people say that? In every sport?
Well, coaches say that to try to take the heat off their one guy.
I know.
It is true that there were other plays earlier that you could have made that would have changed the outcome too.
Hey,
so
Curry,
it's really not just that one play. Yeah. If we would put ourselves in a better position, we wouldn't have needed that one play. So that's
Curry. You ever been in a press conference with a coach who said, "Yeah, it did come down to one play"?
Well, I was going to say that was in the Big Sky, which nobody knows where it is. Right. I would have loved the Eastern Washington guy to come out and say, "Yeah, Jake blew the fucking game. One play. All we had was one play to win, and one play. He blew it on the last play of the game. He blew the game."
The only thing that would have made that highlight better, and I've seen the highlight, is had they played the game at Eastern Washington, because
and that horrible
Eastern
red
Washington
field.
has a red field.
Really?
Boise has a blue field. Eastern Washington's is all red, and it would have been bizarre.
It's just
awful. Is a Eastern Washington alum. He's probably
that's right. Yeah,
their most famous. So all right.
John Kitna?
Any final thoughts from anyone, or we'll wrap it up? let's wrap it up. We've gone a while. It has been a very active week. Hopefully, Rich will be back. If he's not, Justin's better anyway. So we'll keep him here. And it gives us another reason to throw Rich under the bus. Great stuff. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Wesley Kerr, Worldwide Wes, production assistants tonight. And we want to also thank, of course, the folks at Hudson's on the Docks on Hilton Head Island. Again, hudsonsonthedocks.com. You can go see their menu. You can go see some beautiful pictures of the Intercoastal Waterway. And when you're down on Hilton Head Island, go to Hudson's on the Docks. For Curry, for Justin, I'm Bob Stevens. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week.